Xin cho em một tô phở nhỏ.
Mình sẽ gọi một tô phở nhỏ và một đĩa chả giò cho bạn ngay nhé.
If you're not using AI to study a language, you are sleeping on a really great tool. Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Audrey, and in today's video, I wanted to do an updated tips for learning Vietnamese video because I got a lot of new Instagram followers who are interested in this topic, so I figured today was a good day to dive in and give you guys all my updated tips. I've been learning Vietnamese for almost 15 years now. My husband is from Vietnam. We got married in 2013. His parents don't speak any English, so I took it upon myself to learn the language and the culture so that I could fit into his family and be a good daughter-in-law. Now we have 2 kids who we're raising bilingually at home, and I'm very proud of that. It's never too late to start learning. So I know there's a lot of Vietnamese Americans who maybe didn't get to learn the language and now you want to start, so this video is especially for you. Throughout this video, I will mention a couple resources that I've put together and I'm going to link them down below. But I'm thinking about making an ebook which would be beginner friendly for people who are just starting out learning the language, and it would include a lot of the things that I'm talking about in this video. So if you're interested in an ebook which would be 100% free, I'm not going to charge you, I'm not going to nickel and dime you for this. Just leave a comment down below, let me know if you would be interested in a book and what you would like to see contained in this ebook. Okay, tip number 1 is to decide, are you learning Northern or Southern Vietnamese accent? For me, my husband's family's from the North, that's why I learned the Northern accent. But if you have family who's from the South and you want to learn the Southern accent, then you're going to need to be able to find resources that actually make sense for you, because if you're using a Southern and then a Northern, you're going to get really confused. So the pronunciation is a little different, they actually use different words. Once you know which accent you want, I put together a PDF resource that has a few things for Southern and a few things for Northern as a starting point. So I hope that you find this useful. I did have somebody on Instagram say that they kept finding things that were Northern but they couldn't find Southern, so I made sure to get both sides so that way you can start there. If you're trying to learn Central, I have no idea where to start, but you can ask ChatGPT. Okay, next it's really important to just start by learning the basic sentence structure in Vietnamese, which luckily is very similar to English. It also follows the subject, verb, object form, which is great because languages that don't follow that are very confusing for me to learn. So you're in luck. Tôi muốn ăn cơm. I want to eat rice. Then what you can do with that simple sentence is change the verb, the object, and you can just start making different sentences like that. So if you want to get like a list of 10 verbs, a list of 10 objects, whatever you want to do. So for example, instead of saying tôi muốn ăn cơm, you could change it to tôi muốn ăn bánh mì. And then like you can see, you just plug in whatever it is that you want to eat right there. Ăn is the verb to eat. If you wanted to change it even further, you could do tôi muốn uống nước. I want to drink water. I know it sounds very rudimentary, but if you're a beginner, you have to start in a beginner zone. Just being able to mix and match sentences, just get an idea of how to build a sentence is a good place to start. Tip number 3 is to study words that look similar but mean different things. So what I mean is this. These are all different words, but you can see it's still like M-U-A. Mua is the start, but then you have mua. Mua, like it just changes based on the accent. So I'm going to actually make a few word lists for you to start. Before I started making word lists like this, I would just guess because I wouldn't know what the other words in the group were. I always mix this up. I always say dứa instead of dừa. So dứa is pineapple and dừa is coconut. Very different things. So I would just guess and say one and it would be the wrong one. So that's why I started learning them side by side so that I can differentiate them early on and then I don't have to guess later. Next is language apps. So I've used many apps throughout the years, and so I'll just mention a few and what they're good for. Memrise I used for vocabulary. They have word lists already on there, and actually I think it's pretty useful because they have videos of the people saying the word. I believe it's Northern accent though, so just be mindful of that, but it is quite useful. I've used it. I think I learned like 1,000 words on Memrise back in like 2017 or something. But I actually like Quizlet a little bit better because you can make your own flashcards. So if you're learning new words, you can just plug them in to a flashcard deck and then study them. Everybody's learning different words, so I feel like it makes more sense to just tailor your studying to what you're learning. So they also have preloaded decks that other people have made, so sometimes I check those out. and I would just flip through those. Flashcards, they're old school, but they work. If you want to talk to Vietnamese people, you can download HelloTalk. HelloTalk is like a language partner app where you can connect with people. You can do texting, like just text with them, or if you want to like call them, you can. But I have used HelloTalk a lot in the past. If you don't know like any Vietnamese people to practice with, that's a great place to look. And then if you want formal tutoring, iTalki actually has tutors. So I've used iTalki to study both Vietnamese and Korean in the past. The prices are affordable. You can work like 30 minutes or an hour a week with somebody, and it's good for like that face-to-face actual studying. Apps are really convenient, but I do recommend writing words down as well. So always have a notebook ready where you can just write, because when you write words down, it actually stays in your brain longer for some reason. One app that I did not include because I wanted to make it its own tip is ChatGPT or AI. Yo, did you know your phone can talk to you in Vietnamese? Because I recently learned this and it was like the best tip that I came up with. So I used to do talk to text to Google Translate, but this is even better. Can we practice a skit where I am ordering in Vietnamese at a restaurant?
Of course, let's do it.
Chào anh, xin anh cho em một thực đơn.
Chào bạn. Đây, mình đưa thực đơn cho bạn ngay đây. Bạn cứ xem thoải mái nhé. Nếu bạn cần gợi ý món ăn gì thì cứ nói mình biết nhé.
Vâng, cảm ơn. Anh ơi.
Vâng, mình nghe đây. Bạn muốn gọi món gì thì cứ nói mình biết nhé.
Xin cho em một thố phở nhỏ với một đĩa chả giò.
Ok, mình sẽ gọi một tô phở nhỏ và một đĩa chả giò cho bạn ngay nhé.
You can literally have a full conversation in Vietnamese. It actually writes out what you said and what they said. So if you don't understand what they said, you can just read the script, highlight the words you didn't know, write them down, and study them. This is a game changer. If you're not using AI to study a language this year in 2025, 2026, whatever, you are sleeping on a really great tool. Let me show you how to get a word list. Can you please create a Vietnamese word list of 20 vocabularies related to exercising? AI is taking over. You could put these in your Quizlet flashcards. That's what you could do. Okay? This is crazy how quickly you can learn Vietnamese if you use AI. My next tip is, while AI is great, you should study with real people. So even if it's just doing a coffee date with a Vietnamese speaker and you don't like formally study, but you just try to talk about language learning and maybe say a few words and phrases, that's good enough. Like that alone will give you face-to-face practice, as well as build your confidence when it comes to speaking with actual people. And then my last tip for beginners is to talk to yourself all day. When I'm walking the dog, when I'm in the shower, I talk to myself a lot. Not because I'm crazy, but because I like to practice saying things on repeat. That way when I get face to face with the time when I need to speak Vietnamese and I need to say these phrases, they just roll off my tongue. There's no thinking about it, like I'm not nervous and forgetting everything I learned. If you have like a bunch of phrases that you know you're gonna use when you go outside and talk to people, repeat them all day until you can do it in your sleep. So as an intermediate speaker, this is what I do. I use ChatGPT to practice my pronunciation, talking, learning new words. When Chat says something that I've never heard, I write it down. Then I create a flashcard in Quizlet. I make a deck of say 20. I review those while I'm in the line at the grocery store or whatever. Like if I just have 5 minutes to spare, like maybe I have a Zoom call that's starting in 7 minutes. And instead of just sitting there scrolling Instagram, I'll just flip through my flashcards. Then once I learn the new words, I try to make a sentence with the new words so that way they actually feel like they're real. Like they're really words I could use because I know like how to put them in a sentence. I'll create a sentence and then I'll repeat that sentence multiple times just so I can get used to hearing that new word. Even as an intermediate, it takes me a while to do this, but this is the way I do it. And then of course I like talk to people. So my mother-in-law, I speak Vietnamese with her. So sometimes I'll practice my new word on her. Then just speak. You cannot speak Vietnamese if you don't speak, okay? I've said this before in previous videos, I'm sure, but that's like the biggest thing. If you guys are interested in a beginner-friendly ebook, let me know, and you can even tell me in the comments like what you would like to see in an ebook like that, so that way I can start putting it together for you guys. I hope this video has encouraged you, inspired you, and you're ready to go out there and start studying Vietnamese a little more seriously. Make it fun, enjoy the process, and I'm here to help, so please leave a comment if you have questions. Also follow me on Instagram, I'm very active there. Thank you guys for watching, thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye! This ain't a production studio. Yes, I have a vent in the corner. It's distracting, but just ignore it, okay? Okay.